Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, she is an NCAA All-American, a five-time European champion. Uh, I'm seeing 10-time European medalist between long course and short course. She holds Dutch records in backstroke. Kira Toussaint. Kira, how's it going?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
So let's start with the present. You're in Rome right now, as you say. What are you doing there? What's up in Rome?
We are with my Amsterdam-based squad. We are on a 3-week training camp here. It was our first time traveling since the whole Corona pandemic started in the beginning of, at least for us, it started in the beginning of March. So it was a little, it's very exciting to be traveling and to be away for swimming, and also to be able to focus completely on swimming. It's very nice. We traveled with these face masks and then with I don't know how you call it in English, but
Like the
something
face
that a
shields.
dentist wears.
Yeah.
Yes, the face shields. So that was interesting, but at least made sure that we could travel. So that was very nice.
That sounds super cool. How's the training camp been, and what has it been like to, like you said, just to be able to focus on swimming after 6 months of kind of crazy global pandemic mode?
It actually has been very nice. The first week we had very nice weather. Now we have had 4 trainings in rain, which is not, it's totally okay, but I'm not very used to rain in Rome, so it's a little adjustment to that. But it has been great. I've been doing a lot of more kilometers than I've been doing in the last 6 months, so I'm a little dead right now, but I'm getting there.
So let's talk about those last few months. What did your quarantine situation look like? From mid March when everything globally kind of shut down. How were you able to stay, in shape, whatever that meant for you?
It was a little crazy time because um, I don't know the exact dates, but it was in the second week of March. And on the beginning of the week, we got some more restrictions in our local pool that, for example, we had to enter in a different entrance, but we could still do our normal training. Then on Friday of that week, we heard maybe. Then on Friday night, we heard we were going the next day in quarantine in a monastery somewhere like 2 hour driving from Amsterdam.
I think we lost Kira for a sec. I have been told the hotel Wi-Fi in Rome isn't amazing.
Stayed there for one. Am I back?
You're back. You're back.
So where did I end?
So 2 hour quarantine in a monastery. Sorry, quarantine monastery 2 hours from Amsterdam.
Yeah. So we drove there. We packed stuff. I packed stuff for like 3 months because I was like, I have no idea if I'm gonna stay here for 3 months or 5 months or maybe 2 days.
Mhm.
So then we actually slept there for one night. We had a swim in the pool that was 1 minute walk from the monastery, and that they locked completely for us. And then we went home again because the government decided that all national sports programs had to stop training. So that was really weird. Then we didn't do anything for 2 weeks. So I just started running, walking, biking, borrowed somebody's professional cyclist bike. Not very good at that. But then we actually had a chance to, like, an hour driving from Amsterdam for, what is it, 2 months, to train once a day. And then, yeah, then we, in May, I think the 1st of May, they started up opening the local pool in Amsterdam again, only for our team. So then we could start training there again. And yeah, then we started back up like normal. So that was just, what is it? Well, we only actually we're out of the pool for 2 weeks.
Okay. So
I lost
really,
you again, I guess.
oh, you're
Oh,
back
yeah.
now. Yeah. So really not too
Yeah.
bad. It seems like, if you're only out of the pool for 2 weeks, I think that's a lot shorter than a lot of us here in the U.S. Obviously, everyone's situation very different, but that's really cool to hear. You are also back in competition pretty soon compared to a lot of other people. I mean, I know you raced May 16th in a meet, and
But
you dropped 009 in the 100 back. What was racing for the first time after that quarantine period like?
well, those races were not official races. They were just like, we put on touching pads in our pool, and we just went on the block and raced, and we timed it.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nice. It's just actual race, I think, and it was nice to be able to do something. Compared to a lot of other people, we were very lucky that we at least could do something. But we also had a competition in Hengelo. It's just also a city in the Netherlands. In the second weekend of August, and that was the first actual competition we did. There were only Dutch swimmers, and there were very strict Corona rules, which also made it a very weird competition. But it was nice that we could do like a 3-day meet with heats and finals. And it's probably nice to have done that one time, because it's probably gonna be how a lot of competitions are gonna be in the next year,
Yeah.
I guess. So yeah.
It certainly seems like it. How do you feel like that meet went for you? What was your experience like at, like you said, in such a weird environment?
Um, I went double O four. It wasn't a very good competition for me. To be honest, my focus was a little bit off in the months that we were able to train once a day. Um, it was I for me it was very hard, because I was working so much, like focusing on the Olympic Games. Well, like everybody else, I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
it was hard for me to keep the focus on long term in mind. So, well, 004 was, I guess, the best I could do in August. But I mean, I'm not in professional swimming to swim 004. So I wasn't really happy with it. But it also gave me a signal like, okay, now the real work is going to start again. So after that competition, we had a 1 week break, and then we started back up. And I really needed a break to to just swimming for a while, and then to be fresh to start for this Olympic season.
I think a lot of people have
I
talked
hope you
about.
didn't lose me again.
I got
Oh,
all the audio. I could hear you.
okay, good.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have talked about how important that break had been, especially like in August. I think a lot of people took various breaks depending on how often they could swim. And even those people were kind of like, yeah, I took a break in August because I think mentally, emotionally, just kind of needed a refresh. And then being able to get back in the pool made a
Yeah.
big difference.
No, yeah, for sure. I also moved places, so it was also nice to spend some time in my new house.
Oh, nice.
I actually slept more nights for the next year to have spent more nights in a hotel, but that's okay.
The life of a professional athlete. I'm guessing you travel a lot. Before quarantine, how much were you traveling in the past year?
Um, I was gone for I think 7.5 months out of the 12 months.
Yeah.
So that was a lot,
Uh,
but it's also very fun.
that sounds super cool. It sounds like a lot. Like you said, you spent more time on the road than in your house, which can be good and bad. What was some of your favorite places, experiences, things you got to do in those 7.5 months on the road?
Um, Actually, the season 2019-20 started with the short course season, but also long course World Cups, and it was very cool because I had a block of a lot of competitions in a row. First long course, short course, long course, short course, and then it ended with the European Short Course Championships, and there was an ISL competition in London in there, and then all the World Cups, and it was very fun because like every race I did in those 3 months, I got better. So it was racing. I learned something, racing again, learning something again, racing again, which was yeah, a very fun time because it led to my first two gold medals at the European Short Course Championships individually. So yeah, that was just a very fun period. Yeah.
You so leading up to those two individual golds at the 2019 European Short Course Championships, Kira won the 50 and the 100 backstroke at that meet. She also won gold in the 400, in the 200 free relay, silver in the mixed 200 medley relay, and bronze in the 200 backstroke. And leading up to that meet, like you said, you went to ISL, you went to World Cups, you broke the Dutch record long course in the 50 and 100 backstroke several times. I think you broke the short course meter 50, 100 backstroke records several times as well. Like you said, you were learning every time you were racing. Have you ever been really in an environment like that where you could just get instant feedback and then instantly apply it to that next race?
Well, I think I've been there before, yeah, but I think I never used it as well as I did now. It was also we train in a way that we use the competitions as training. So by doing that, I could be fast every other weekend, which is I don't know, which if you look at the traditional way of swim training is pretty weird if you can be fast every other weekend. But we did a lot of meters easy swimming, and then the competition was the pace sets in it. So then just analyzing the race, well, you always make mistakes in races. So just to do one thing better the next time and then see if it works. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And somehow it just worked out every time this period, which is of course very fun. But I hope to get another period like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and like you said, I think, the maturation of an athlete, you grow and grow, and as you start perfecting your craft, you learn how to take things and put them into place more and more. I think we're seeing that trend of people being able to go fast more often, more than just at an Olympics or a World Championships or European Championships. And during that period, you also broke out of the 50, 100 backstroke a little bit. Like we said, you bronze medal in the 200 short course backstroke. Then you also broke another more unofficial record. You took down your mom's best time. You broke a family record in the 200 long course backstroke. She had won gold at the 1984 Olympic Games in LA. Her best time was 2:12:38, and you went 2:11:79 at the World Cup meet in Berlin. Tell me about
Berlin,
that.
yeah.
Tell me about that experience. And was that a goal going in for sure?
Well, I always have a love-hate relationship with the 200 backstroke, especially on long course. Because it's like, I don't know. It's just every time I try, 17, I went to 13, 8 years later before I actually got my mom's time. And this time in Berlin, I always enter the 100 free and the 200 back for every World Cup. And then on the day before, I decide which one I'm going to do. So this time I was like, okay, the 100 went so well, the 50 went so well, I'm going to try the 200. And I don't know, I just saw the girl on the other outside of the pool. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get you. I'm just gonna rate per se about that competition. It just worked out that time. And I called my mom immediately after, and I was like, okay, I'm never gonna do this again. It's your turn. When you're faster, I will try it again. And then um, 2 weeks later, I did it again. So, yeah, it's a love-hate relationship. And he's gone. No.
We've got you now.
No, you're back or not?
I'm back.
Okay.
You hear me? Yeah, we're cutting in and out a little bit.
Yes.
We're dealing with spotty Wi-Fi connections
Oh.
and cross-country Zoom calls, but that's okay. So I think love-hate relationship is how many swimmers would describe their relationship with their 200s of stroke. It can be a heavy burden a lot of times, but it can also turn out really well and like that. That's such a cool story, which I've got to ask a little more about. Like we said, your mom wins gold in the 200 back at the 1984 Summer Olympics. Growing up, did you realize, when did you realize you're like, oh wow, like mom was like the best swimmer of, one of the best swimmers of her time? Was that a factor in you swimming as well?
Well, actually, it's like if your parent or if your dad or your mom is a dentist, it's very normal that dentists are very normal too. So mom was an Olympic champion. That was very normal to me. 15, how cool it actually was, or how special that not many people, that I realized when I was 14 or 15 years old, that how cool it is to have an Olympic champion as a parent. And as a young girl, people always ask me, "Oh, are you gonna follow your mom in her footsteps?" And when I was a young girl, I was always very like, I was like, no, I want to be my own person. Like, I don't want to be my mom, even though I also wrote down as a kid, like if people ask like, what do you want to be when you're old? I always wrote down Olympic champion. But I really wanted to be my own person already from a young girl. So that, I don't know, that really followed me till later on, because people kept asking me, well, are you going to follow your mom or in her footsteps? And then it's like, how many people are going to be Olympic champion? It kind of puts a lot of pressure on it. So I don't know. The Dutch press also always wrote the daughter of Jolande de Rover. And I remember the first time they didn't do that. My roommate, Femke Heemskerk, is Femke, I guess you say in English, is always my roommate when traveling. And she actually sent me a screenshot of it because they wrote Kira Toussaint, blah, 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 blah. And then she's also the daughter of Olympic swimming champion. So then the story changed. Like I was my own person. I had my own accomplishments, and then I was my mom's daughter. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, you kind of you grew up as your mother's daughter, and then you solidified your own legacy with your swimming, which is super cool to see, while using your mom as an inspiration. So you grew up with this Olympic medalist mother. You started your swimming career in the Netherlands. You come to the U.S. You competed at Tennessee for 2 years. Tell me a little bit about your collegiate experience and what you gained from swimming and competing in the United States.
I remember the first time or the first week I was at Tennessee for my junior year. My coach was like, I was swimming backstroke, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, this is how I learned to swim backstroke." And he's like, "No, no, this is wrong. We're gonna teach you completely different." So that was interesting. It was Matt Kredich that told me that, and I'm very thankful that he did that, because then he taught me to swim backstroke completely different. And well, I'm still using the technique that they taught me at Tennessee. And yeah, well, I guess it really works out for me right now. I also had a really fun time those 2 years. Like really felt like home for me. I had a hard time deciding to leave, but I guess it was the best option for me at that time. I also had a boyfriend in the Netherlands, so who is now my fiance. But that really helped for making my decision as well. But I had a really good time. I'm very thankful for the experiences I got there. I think I really learned how to race because of the weekly competitions, the dual meets, the so much fun at SECs and NCAAs. Yeah, I think I really brought that to how I approach my races still today.
Yeah. It's, you know, you had a lot of success at Tennessee, obviously, as we mentioned before, NCAA All-American, all 4 years in college. And then you go back to the Netherlands, and it seems like it seems like you came back to the Netherlands, like you said, kind of a transformed swimmer. And it really started showing in your international swims. What was it like to kind of make that ascension into that group of Dutch elite swimmers who have had a lot of success in the past? Like you said, Femke Heemskerk, Renomi Kromowidjojo, just, they're obviously the top end, but you've now kind of ascended into that top end as well. What's it been like to be a part of that crew?
Well, I also learned how to swim freestyle at Tennessee. That was the first time I actually started to do freestyle as well. I never did that before. Mm-hmm. And that's because they needed me for the relays. And then in 2016, I decided to swim 100 freestyle at trials, just because I was like, yeah, let's try it. And I went up PB by like a second and a half, but it was like 55.9. So that was not really fast.
Yeah.
And then I decided I wanted to be in the relay. Like that was always, I wanted to, the Dutch 4x100 freestyle relay has always been so good. And it's something like I think a lot of girls want to be a part of. So I started to do more freestyle training. Um, and I actually called myself a wannabe all the time because I just wanted to be in that relay. And then in 2018, at the European Long Course Championships in Glasgow, I actually made it to the relay for the first time, and we won a silver medal. And for me, that was my first long course European Championships medal. So I was very, very happy, very excited. And I remember looking at Renomi and Femke, and they were actually disappointed because they lost the gold medal, and I just had won the silver medal. So we got out of that race completely different, you know. And I was like, guys, we just won a silver medal. So that changed their perspective a little bit as well. And it's for me, it's so cool to be part of that relay, to be able to swim and compete with those two girls. They are such a big part of Dutch swimming. And yeah, that's very exciting. That was also the biggest reason why I was so sad to leave the World Short Course Championships in 2018, because that was my chance to like win relays with them for the first time for me. So yeah, it's very like, maybe I'm not a wannabe anymore. Maybe I'm actually a part of it right now. But yeah, that's something I always wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, I think it's super cool to hear you ascending to that level. If you've never seen Kira swim, certainly in the NCAA, I'm guessing now on the international stage, her underwaters are lethal. And now after having been at Tennessee, she has that top arm recovery on her backstroke breakout, which is patented Matt Kretich. But it would have been super cool to see you compete on those relays, especially at the short course world championships, because I think you guys would have racked up some medals there for sure.
They actually did without me. They had 2 silver medals in relays.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So still, yeah, they still did really well.
Yeah. And I mean, if you don't know, they won. I know Renomi won the gold medal at the 2008 Olympics in the 400 free relay. 2012.
Femke did as well.
Okay, I wasn't sure if Femke was on that relay, but so they've been a staple for over a decade in Dutch relays, and they're still kicking butt on those relays. And now we've got Kira as a member of those as well. Let's switch to more short course, to ISL. You swam it. Was it just at the London meet last year for ISL? Okay.
I just did that one.
Okay.
And the reason behind that was because long course World Cups were more important because of the Olympic season. So I managed to fit one of them in, and I was really sad about it, but I think it was the right decision to make.
I think that makes sense. I think, everyone was kind of weighing the options with ISL and should I, how much focus should I put in this versus my Olympic preparation? And I think, every athlete came to that decision on their own. And, you made yours and it seemed like it paid off. You get second in both the 50 and the 100 free, 50, 100 backstroke at that London meet.
Yeah.
Tell me about the environment and what you gained from ISL and what you're excited about now that you have signed with the London Roar for this 2020 season.
Oh yeah, it was just the meet in London. It was so much fun. Like the atmosphere in the pool, it was insane. And the reason I decided to sign with the London team was because they had a good team. Like, I thought it would be awesome to be swimming with Minna Ettington in the 50 and 100 back. Also, well, that's not going to happen anymore because the Australians aren't coming anymore. So that's a bit of a bummer. But yeah, I'm very excited to compete again. hope everything is going to work out. I think it will, because the ISL has a very good Corona, how do you say that, plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I just compete, actual do real races. Oh God,
I think we still got you.
I lost you for a second, but yeah, you're back. Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, I think most athletes are pretty excited about the coming ISL season. Like you said, getting some real races in and getting a lot of them in, much like you did last fall. You know, back to back to back, and having being around the same competition, the same athletes. A lot of people I've talked to have said it. You know, they're looking forward to it. It could be a pretty unique environment and pretty valuable, especially heading into this 2021 now Olympic season.
Yeah.
So to wrap up our conversation, heading, you know, the ISL starts in less than, I think, 4 weeks, maybe less than that at this point.
I'm traveling there in 3 weeks. Yeah, 3
Okay.
weeks.
All right. So you're traveling in 3 weeks. Between now and then, and these next 3 weeks, like you said, you're in Rome, you're in training camp, you're doing some heavy kilometers. What are your goals heading into the ISL? Just, you know, what are you doing to prepare yourself for that kind of racing environment?
Nothing different than I did last season. Just doing getting a lot of work done now in training camp. Then we have 1 week of recovery at home. And then it's already time to fly there and head there. I think we have to be in quarantine for 2 days after we arrive. And then I'm gonna train straight through the whole training camp there. And I haven't really talked about with my coach about how we're gonna prepare for racing, but I think it's just like last year: race, learn something, race again, and yeah, that will be very fun. There's one thing a little. We have our Olympic trials in December. Our last only chance is in December, and that made me decide to leave the training or the camp in Budapest probably a little bit earlier. So I won't be competing in all competitions, but yeah, it's again the choice for the Olympic season.
Yeah. And last question. You made the Olympics in 2016. You represented the Netherlands there. You're an Olympian for the rest of your life. What will it mean to you to be able to go to a second Olympics in 2021, especially given, you know, the growth and progress in your career that you've made up to this point?
I think a second Olympics will be really special. I just really hope that my mom and my fiance can be there, because I know that's maybe not a big chance because of the Corona pandemic, but that would make it a lot more special for me. My goal is to make an Olympic final and to be in the 100 back, and also to be part of the Dutch relay in the 4x100 freestyle. And I think we can do pretty well in the mixed medley relay as well. But yeah, making finals, swimming finals, that's the goal.
Well, Kira, thank you so much for your time. I know we've had some connection issues, but it's so great to hear from you. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, and I'm excited to watch how the ISL unfolds for you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.